we are in Porridge, Croatia, for the reason of European Taekwondo Championship 2022. My special guest is John Taylor, Grandmaster John Taylor, President of ITF Wales. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
My first question is very usual. When did you start Taekwondo?
Long time ago. I started Taekwondo in 1973. I was still a schoolboy, and as I said, I'd seen a Taekwondo demonstration in my local town. In that demonstration was a person called Rikia, who I didn't know. But I was a sports person anyway. I did gymnastics and football, so I was quite interested in why this new martial art had come to town. So basically, there was a demonstration in the hall, so we went to see. And being an ex-gymnast, I was quite impressed how I could see this person jump up in the air so high and kick something. So I thought, as a gymnast, he jumped on a trampette as a springboard to do that. I went to the stage, looked at it. It was actually come straight off the floor of the stage, and so I was really impressed. So the following day, I decided to go and investigate the school. The problem I had was that you had to be 16 years old to join then, and I was only 15. Mm-hmm. So to join the school, I had to tell a little white lie, and I joined the school at 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And then it was completely different, So because it was mainly adults, there was no children involved, and so it became a challenge. I just wanted to see how this training took place, So I registered, and that's how I started my Taekwondo life.
Very interesting story and the backgrounds of your beginnings. And so you said that it was quite hard in the beginning, and I think much harder than our current classes are.
Completely different. For example, even the halls that we trained, it was not the standard that they are today. But most instructors, because Taekwondo because Ricky had more gone from the military into the RAF, into the police stations, it was still taught mainly in the RAF. So most of the instructors that would come over was RAF. So it was quite a strict regime anyway. Mm-hmm. And as a 15-year-old, it was completely different. But there was no sparring equipment. It was straightforward training, hard training, going on very sweaty and tired, but different. And that was the early days of training. But that was in, say, 1973. It was a long time ago. It's moved on completely different now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So quite military regime in the training.
Yes, yeah. But, I mean, we knew no different. So it was something. And also that it was interesting at that time, the Bruce Lee film was out, and martial arts was actually quite booming then. It was getting more successful, even other different styles of martial art. So it was a good thing to take on as another activity. And then as a youngster, you don't really know anyway. You just go in the deep end and see what happens, basically. Yeah. The difference was, as a 15-year-old, with everybody in your class was a grown-up man, not many women training at that time, and quite strict on training.
But if you are dedicated and focused on training, that you will go through.
Yeah.
It's about passion, I think so. What about your sport career? Because I know that you were a member of GP.
For me, I basically I was a very active sports person anyway, so I went straight to competition from the early days. Then went squad training with the national squad, even though I was not black belt, around about red belt, black tags. And so I actually trained in the squads where they were getting ready for Oklahoma. And then I had injury, but I was never going to get selected for Oklahoma because I was still black tags. And then I trained for Argentina with the British team. Then got selected for Argentina, and then at the last minute got dropped for Argentina, so it's quite disappointing, but I was still young. And that was a very, very successful British team who went on to win quite a lot of medals in Argentina. The squad they were great friends of mine and always have been great friends of mine, and the coaches were different, and the discipline and training was completely different as it is today.
Mm-hmm. I think it's quite not comparable to nowadays, because we have a lot of moderns way how to train, but people are a little bit weaker, I think. Because now is 21st century, I would like to say. You were also for many years national coach of Wales team, I remember.
I was. I competed 15 years for myself as a competitor. Then I took over the national team. At that time, it was the GB team. There was no England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Mm-hmm. It was the national team. So I had the Great Britain team for many years, and also then when it split back into the regions again, I then became Welsh coach. But my first coaching was with the national squad, which we had good success through all the World and European Championships. So my coaching time was 21 years of coaching. So I decided after 21 years that was enough and retired. But I'd been to most of the World and European Championships, from going back to Oklahoma, Argentina, all the way through up to the present day.
So I think you so many fights. What do you think about changes in sparring?
It's different. It's completely different. Standard refereeing is different. Standard referees, I would say, today is higher standard. Why? Because most of the referees have been to competition, so they understand how it is to be on the other side. Also, the standard of sports complexes are much better. Contact is different. Referees, because again they've been in the situation, they can understand where the fighter is coming from to a certain extent. Because the way I was always taught and way I've always trained my squads is you spar to suit the referee. If the referee allows contact, then you do contact. If he doesn't allow contact and he's telling you off about contact, then you ease down. So you play the referee, basically. Maybe the wrong thing to say, but it's as a coach, as a competitor, you have to be thorough on how you approach it. Because many of these athletes have trained, what a lot of people don't see is the training they do behind the scenes to get to that standard, to get to selected. And that's the tough part as a coach and a competitor.
Do you think that there is something I say wrong or improper in current rules of sparring? Or
no,
what?
I think it's different. I think it's completely different. I think the contact is less now. The athletes are more skillful now. Their flexibility, which is really important to me, is better now. Where before the early days of sparring was more to the point, more direct, more solid kind of a sparring shot. Where now it would be more of a sharper technique, if you think. But the skill of the athlete now is completely different. And the age band is all different. Going back to in the early days, there was no juniors, there was no children doing competition like this. Personally, myself, I don't think children should be doing World and European Championships. I think 15 plus, maybe we start looking at it. Under that, no. They have to do their nationals and get themselves ready for that. That's my opinion. After coaching so long, I'll have to see what I see on the floor. The reason why, because then if you have a junior that goes on the floor too early and gets a bad time, then the next thing you've lost the person. So you have to gradually build them up and then take them to that level. That's my opinion. That's where coaches have to be very careful on selections.
I agree with your opinion, because from my side, I don't like really so much that younger and older juniors. For me, it's better if even that is a little bit better for them, because they compete maybe only 1 year older, and this also because this dimension is about 4 years. They are able to compete in juniors, but for me it's better that one group and more strictly selected, as you said, because they should be prepared mentally and also physically. But, because and also I don't agree with kids competing at European level.
No.
For national level or some local international competition.
Because I think it's stages, it's stepping stones, and like they do their nationals at stepping stones, they learn. The coaches can see they've got new people coming through. They encourage them, they nurture them, they get them ready, and they take them to the next step, European Championships. Same, look at the standards, see how they're doing. Next step, if you put them straight into the World Championships, it can be one big lesson that they don't really want. So what some competitors can cope, some competitors cannot cope with that. And that's down to the coach. That's down to the person looking at that youngster, or even a veteran situation. They have to be ready for this kind of competition, or competition at this kind of standard level, I think.
Once upon a time, I spoke with Grandmaster Wang about veterans, and he said they should be veterans like previous competitors in adults, very successful, very experienced. So this should be proper way. But
no, I agree. I think a veteran is what it is. A veteran is an ex-international that's aged and still wants to compete. That I've competed many years back, so they've still got that skill on the floor. You cannot go into this kind of competition, just got your black belt a couple of years ago, and come in and take on a true veteran, because you won't win. And not only we won't win, a true veteran don't know no difference on sparring. They actually just spar normal. So for them, it's normal. The other person has never done it, it's not normal. So it's quite a tough learning curve. So I don't agree with the veteran sparring like that.
Okay. We can return to your Taekwondo. You have your own school running?
Yes, I've had my own school since, I promoted in 1977. So first down in 77, and at that time in Wales there was only 3 schools. The school where I was linked, which was the Barry School, Cardiff School, and another instructor promoted, Lynn Evans, that went on to Risca, and then I went on to a school in Ely in Cardiff. So I started my schools off in 78 and been there since. So I started teaching early because there was no schools, and we was encouraged to go out and be instructors. So I was an instructor at 18.
And how many members do you have in your school?
Now we're getting back to putting the school together because of the COVID situation. We lost our school. So what I did, I had 2 choices: to retire because I've been there a long time, or start again completely fresh. Spoke to some of my black belts, and then put some money into the system, advertised through a local paper, and invited everybody to come training free. No charge. We pay for the license, we pay for the cost, we pay for the hall for 2 months. Option number 1 is nobody turns up. Option number 2 is we had 32 people turn up. So we had 32 all juniors. Looked to the instructors, and now we've now got 38 students, and they pay a minimum fee, and we keep it going. So it's like we've started all over again, which is okay because it's a challenge. Because everybody in the class now is a junior. Everybody in the class was all shapes and sizes when they walked in, and now we're trying to get some sort of shape together. So in 1 year, we'll have a different school, but it will take that kind of time to get it together. And I think it's good for the new instructors that I have working with me to learn how to take on brand new students and start afresh. Because COVID, just for everybody in the world, COVID stopped Taekwondo basically, and we could only do training via Zoom and so on. So it was very, very difficult. But we're back.
It's important when you knock down, you have to stand up, because when we are not standing up, we are totally lost. But we have to do. What about? Sorry, we will cut it. I forgot my thoughts. Your memories about General Choi.
Because I was national coach, I travelled a lot, and I took Rikiar with us as he was our instructor. And obviously Rikiar was one of the pioneering grandmasters, so always General Choi was around. So I met General Choi on many occasions, not only to train with, but to have dinner with, and also to sit in the back listening to some of the conversations where he was discussing with the other grandmasters. Very interesting, very, very sometimes polite, sometimes not so polite man, but to the point. What was interesting for me to look on to was how can such a small man control such a powerful unit? And he did it because he was good with words, he was very precise, and he was very to the point. And I think that's where the discipline comes in. and very, very accurate, to the point of where it was, to me, it was so accurate. It was too accurate, but that's the way he was. And, obviously there must be something in it because it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the people that trained with him, they were different. The early day Grandmasters are nothing like the Grandmasters of today, I don't think, because they're different. And because they were ex-military, they taught that way, and they were completely different on their sparring attitude, and so on. Their attitude was the same as the military. They touch it, they hit it, they kill it. We don't do that. We're doing a sport kind of Taekwondo now, but in their day it was no different because they were trained in the army, so that's how they worked. But interesting to train with, tough to train with. But once you got the chance to actually get close or to get some sort of knowing of them, they were normal. They were normal people.
Yeah. And what are your experiences and memories for Grandmaster Ricky Ha? Because it was your teacher for a long time.
In the early days of training, Ricky Ha was, I won't use the word animal, but I will. He was a very, very hard training person to train with. Why we were so good at power is because that's what he was. He was a powerhouse. He specialised in power. Everything was to do with breaking things. So as juniors all the way through to black belts, to internationals, that's all we ever did. For our gradings, it was demanded that we had to do power. We have to do flying kicks. So we just trained that way. We knew no different. And that's why I think, as I said, the success of the British team, the GB teams, were always good at World Championships at power because they practice power. And say myself in the national squads, we won the world title because we were all trained at power level, so we knew what to do.
There's on YouTube some very old video with power breaking of Grandmaster Lee, and it's slow motion with some tags, and he's breaking some bricks, or I don't remember exactly what. This is also animal version because what happens with your arm, it's also incredible.
I remember the program you're talking about was I'm not actually sure what it was called. It was, but the idea was it was to show how the human body buckles and bends as it hits something that's solid. And so what you seen was as he punched through the wood, how the wood was shattered and how the bolts would start to fire out and how his arms start to go distorted. So I remember it quite well when he done that. And it's the same thing. Because he was such a powerful man on power, he would literally go 1 inch from a brick and then just punch the brick and snap the brick every time. So he was like that, But he was in the world. I would say that he was probably the most powerfulest martial artist as far as we're concerned, as Taekwondo is concerned. Even when he sat one day with Muhammad Ali in a dinner. They showed their fists together. He had a bigger hand, bigger fist, bigger knuckles. So that was his pride. My hand's bigger than Muhammad Ali. Although he's the world champion, I can punch harder than him. It's true.
Yeah, I remember Grandmaster's hand because I think I have not quite small hand, but I felt like this is bare hand. Yeah, it was really strong. Yeah. It was like some machine that it sticks together. So it was excellent.
So there had to be something about him for us to stay that long. His demands was high, but that's good anyway. If that's where you want to achieve, then that's where you have to go. So we did all our gradings all the way through with him, and now he's retired, and then we run the UKTA. UKTA will carry on going on. And that's what he wanted, where the UKTA will survive, and then he's there still in the background, but UKTA is now being taken over by ourselves. The UKTA runs exactly the same. We still demand the power, we still demand exactly the same kind of techniques. So we will not change. His legacy will live on.
It's very important that you follow his legacy and follow the way.
Yeah.
Now you are preparing postponed already international seminar. I see, if I remember correctly.
I have IOC in Cardiff in June, and really looking forward to trying getting people back together again, because this IIC course that we're doing next should have took place 3 years ago, but we got cancelled, postponed, cancelled, and so on. So now everything's fixed and in place, and so it should take place.
Mm-hmm. You already had in beginning of March national seminar, technical seminar. You were
in
part of it.
September and March we do our black belt seminar gradings, which we conducted with Grandmaster Williamson, myself, and Grandmaster Miller over the 3 days, 1.5 days of training, then the grading day, where all the black belts meet together, train, and then on the last day they do their testing.
So busy weekend.
Yeah, but good weekend. Again, you get all black belts throughout the country together, so it's always been the same. It's always good to do.
And this seminar in March, how do you rate the preparation or level of technique? How did was COVID forced the level of technique?
The last black belt grading we did, we a little bit lowered our standards because we were getting everybody back together. But the standard at the next one will go higher because everybody's back in training again. We've explained that to the students and the black belts and the instructors, and so that's what we're expecting. So our standard has been raised now because we're back into classes. Because even when we was doing our black belt grading, we did one black belt grading on a Zoom. It's nothing. It's not the same. It's very, very difficult. Even when I do IIC courses on Zoom, it's not the same. It's really so difficult to do. But now I think everybody's back. The world is opening up again. Then the training levels after also go up as the same, you know. But that's what we're, as the UKTA, we demand that of our instructors. Our instructors then teach the next stage, or our new black belts coming through, and that's what we're expecting. So we've discussed it as a grading panel, and we've said that the standard will go up. So maybe at the next grade there'll be a few disappointed people on results, but that's the way it should be anyway.
Yeah.
If they're not prepared, then they don't succeed.
But you have already informed that they have information, and it's necessary to keep the level because we have to improve. What are your plans for next years in Taekwondo?
I don't know, because I'm at a stage now where I'm thinking a little bit of retirement, because a couple of years ago I had quite a strong injury, which left me to retire from my work. Taekwondo is not my living, but I still run the schools and I still have some other business. But my wife retires this year, and I'm thinking about moving to Spain for 3 months of the year, come back 3 months, and so on. So next year after, maybe I will be living in Spain for 3 months because of this injury. Would probably help as well with the weather. But I'm not leaving Taekwondo. Even if I was to live in Spain and the black belt gradings were in Glasgow, then I catch a plane in Alicante instead of catching a plane in Cardiff. So it's the same. So there's no plans to leave Taekwondo, but my plan is to have a bit more free time to myself. And my school will continue because I have other instructors who can take over the school anyway.
That's wonderful. Sir, I would like to wish you many successful years and many years in Taekwondo, and would like to thank you for this interview.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.